I absolutely love the TFSA. Love it because, well, who likes paying taxes? If you're not taking advantage of this account, you're probably leaving money on the table. I'm Tanya Solsla, investment advisor with the MAN team at CG Wealth Management, and today I'm talking about the TFSA and why every Canadian needs one. In Canada, if your money earns interest, dividends, or capital gains, you're generally going to pay taxes on that income, unless it's in a special type of account like the TFSA. Here's a simple example. Let's say you have $50,000 sitting in a regular savings account and you earn $2,000 in interest this year. Normally, that $2,000 would get added to your taxable income and you'd pay tax on it. For instance, if you're in the 40% tax bracket, that means $800 of your $2,000 earned interest is gone, and you only get to keep $1,200. But if that $50,000 was in a TFSA, that interest would be tax-free, and you get to keep the full $2,000. Pretty sweet, right? For this reason, you must make sure that you're utilizing or putting whatever you can away into a TFSA. Do not leave your money in a regular taxable account, also known as a non-registered account, or even just a savings account. I know for some of you this may seem ridiculously obvious, but I see it all the time. People paying tax when they don't have to. And the Canada Revenue Agency is not frantically chasing down any Canadian to remind them to use or open a TFSA. Now, the TFSA is flexible. You can own a lot of different investments in this account, such as mutual funds, GICs, exchange traded funds, and my favorite, stocks, bonds, and preferred shares. So, what should you put in your TFSA? To properly answer this question, it depends on your individual situation and goals. To give you some ideas, here are 3 common scenarios I see people using TFSAs for. Scenario 1, short-term needs. The money that you have available to put into your tax-free savings account is meant for either emergencies or maybe a down payment for a home or a vacation or some other short-term need. In this case, you want to be more conservative with your investments, because you might need that money sooner than later. So you wouldn't want to take on a whole lot of risk and end up losing 20% of your savings just when you need it. For these goals, you might choose things like a high interest savings account, a GIC, or a money market fund. Safe, steady options that won't be too volatile. Scenario 2, long-term retirement savings. This is where the TFSA really shines. You hold long-term investments that have the potential to grow and compound for years. And when you're ready to pull it out, it's all yours. You pay no tax on withdrawals. Depending on your comfort level, you can afford to take on a little more risk, as the more money you make that you don't have to pay tax on, the better. The last scenario is really just a combination of short-term and long-term goals. Maybe you need some of your money for short-term needs and some for your long-term needs or retirement. In this case, you could set up 2 TFSAs. Or I've had clients where both spouses open up a TFSA and one spouse uses theirs for short-term goals and the other spouse uses theirs for long-term goals. This is an easy way to keep things organized and make sure you don't accidentally go over your contribution limit, which is a big no-no. Speaking of contributions, unfortunately, you can't just put as much money as you want into these accounts. There is a limit. Starting in 2009, when the TFSA was born, everyone who was 18 years of age and over received $5,000 of room. And with every new year, we get more and more room. And from time to time, they increase the amount of new room we get to keep up with inflation. So you can see we got the first $500 increase in 2013, And that held until 2015 when the Conservative government bumped up the limit to $10,000 for the year, but then Trudeau took over and dropped it back down to $5,500. Since then, we've been moving along with a $500 increase every 3 years or so. If you haven't used up all of your room or even any of it, no worries, because every year that you don't use it, it just rolls over into the next year and keeps piling up patiently, waiting, and whenever you're ready to go, that room is available for you. If you were 18 or older in 2009 and have never used any of your room, you have all of that combined room now available to you. And that's a total of $102,000 in 2005. And if you have a spouse that hasn't used up any of their room as well, well, that's a combined total of $204,000 worth of room. Maybe you put $15,000 into a TFSA a few years back, and then you pulled it out. The year following the withdrawal, your room or that $15,000 is added back. Paying attention to your tax-free savings account room is extremely important because the penalty for over-contributing is a nasty 1% per month on any overage. For example, if you accidentally put $10,000 above your limit and left it in there for a year, well, that's $100 a month or a $1,200 penalty for the year. How do you find out your room? You can check how much room you have by contacting the CRA. The easiest way to do this is by logging onto your CRA online account. It's a bit of a hassle to set up, but once you have it, it's super useful for checking your contribution room, tax slips, and other details. If you haven't set this up yet, I strongly recommend doing it. It'll save you time and stress later. Keep in mind, the financial institutions where you hold your TFSAs don't report all the withdrawals or contributions until the year is over. This information is then sent to the CRA and they will update the numbers at the end of February. These numbers are only updated once per year. TFSAs are one of the most powerful financial tools available to Canadians. Open one today. If you have any questions or if you need help getting started with your TFSA, feel free to reach out. Our team offers free 15-minute intro calls to answer your questions. Just book a time through the link above and we'd be happy to chat. And don't forget to like and share this video with your family and friends. They'll thank you for it later.